from Hawaii, so super happy to have someone on the same time zone. How's things in Hawaii, Anthony?
Hawaii is fantastic. I know a couple of times with the shutdown and everything like that, people are kind of getting hectic, but it's so beautiful out here. We're still staying active. We're still, loving life, enjoying it. And, the food is fantastic out here. So I have no complaints. It's great.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so you actually hiked up there from Miami, if I remember right. You told me that, and you've been living there for how long now?
3 years now. 3 years.
Awesome. All right. So everybody who's watching, if you're watching this on replay or you are watching us live, leave us a little comment. If you have any questions, we'll address those. Excuse me, address those questions towards the end. But the whole idea today is to talk about simplified steps, 6 simplified steps for health. And Anthony is a personal trainer. How long you been a personal trainer for now?
I've been a personal trainer for about two years now, coming up on three. I've actually been in health and wellness for about 4 to 5 years right now. So still learning, still pretty much new, but still trying to give it my all and give everyone the best life that they can possibly have.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so let's jump into a little bit of your story. So how did that come to be? If is there something on your background, your upbringing? How did you drift into health and wellness and the personal training and all of that? So what's your drift, if you will?
Yeah, so like I don't want to start with the stereotypical like I started off with sports and everything in high school, but pretty much I was just always into health and fitness whenever it came back to, trying to figure out who I was. And so whenever it was one of those things like I was pretty stressed out, I would find myself either working out, exercising in high school, exercising in college, and it just became one of those things that it became routine for me to actually implement exercise, implement a healthy lifestyle in all parts of my life. And so when it came to the point in college, when I was studying, I found myself doing better when I was focusing on my nutrition, focusing on my health more than I was when I wasn't doing that. And so the productivity level when it came to high stress environments and everything like that with my classes kind of went down a lot when I wasn't implementing that. And so the story behind me trying to get into health and wellness was all of those little things that added up over time. And it just kind of clicked with me. And I'm like, you know what? I've felt this. I can see myself teaching this. And this is something that I really wanted to do. And so that kind of led me to go pursue my master's degree in public health, which has to deal with all aspects of whether that be like personal relationships or it has to be with epidemiology, the study of diseases, kind of a little bit of everything. And that's why I wanted to implement that into my life and give it back to others.
Beautiful. That's a
Yeah.
nice story. Great. So I'm a big on lifestyle, and especially when it comes to health, it's very much near and dear to my own heart as well. So I'm very excited about this convo and conversation. How and you mentioned a little bit of the lifestyle there, and my one of my big ideas is that I always tell if people want to change something in their health, you can do a little bit with tricks and bits and pieces here and there, but the biggest shift happens when you actually change the lifestyle. You actually go from like, okay, instead of trying to lose 5 kilos or 6 pounds, you trying to
Mhm.
become or you want to become a healthy person, which is kind of the lifestyle shift, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can work out, 4 or 5 times a week, I think. And if your nutrition pretty much sucks, that's not really going to add on top of all the healthier benefits that you could have if you have two tools working for you. And so when we talk about like our toolkit, I talk about my toolkit to the clients and everything like that. We want to be able to have a ton of tools together, all simplified as possible. So then they can start implementing them a little bit easier throughout their day to reach that healthy lifestyle that they do want to have. And so whether that be losing 5 kilos, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever that might be, but doing it in a healthy manner to where it's, they're implementing nutrition, they're implementing those daily routines, they're implementing, gratitude exercises, everything that kind of encompasses overall health and well-being into their daily lifestyle. So it's not just, man, I'm working out, I'm not seeing results, but now, man, I'm working out, but I'm also feeling good overall, and I'm getting that positive energy out of my system as well as intaking it into my own. So
Mm, that's beautiful. Hey, the word that comes out straight away from that is the simplification and simplified, and I know that's a very very big thing for you as well. And I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of it, and especially well, if you look at what's happening in the health and wellness industry or the nutritional world today, there's a lot of complexity, and I
Hmm.
personally believe that that's possibly because of when things are complex, they are more attractive to people instead of trying to simplify it to its most foundational steps and then go from there. Because I like to think that at least 80 to 90%, maybe even over 90% of your results, especially when it comes to health and wellness, comes from very simple foundational tips and tools.
Yeah, it's the fundamentals, because you could have all these things going and working for you, but if you don't have the fundamentals right, you could lead yourself to injury, lead yourself to breakdown. You could lead yourself to overexertion. You could also lead yourself into your business on just kind of like burnout. So there's a lot of things that you could actually hinder yourself doing if it's not simplified to the point to where a basic fifth grader can read it, or a basic sixth grader can do it. And I'm not saying the overcomplication of certain aspects a fifth grader could do, but it kind of seems to me, when someone talks about health and wellness now, it's overcomplicated to the point that they sound a little bit more smarter. They're trying to sound smart, and I have nothing wrong and nothing against that. But when it comes to a Gen Pop person, the lay person that works at home or anything like that, the basics really, really, are foundational, and they help. And you'll see progress more when you understand the basics and understand the simplified version, instead of me giving you XYZ to get a certain result, when I could be like, hey, let's break this down a little bit more so you understand why we're getting the result and the intention behind getting the result.
Right. Okay. So let's dive straight into that one then. So you have your
Yeah.
6 steps of simplified health, if you will. But
Hmm.
okay, so let's run those through. So what are those six
Okay.
steps?
So the 6 steps for me is, we start off with intention, and then we go to clarity, focus, and then consistency, patience, and celebration. And so those are the six underlining 6 steps for the simplified health method. And so when we dive in a little bit, we focus on intention. What are our intentions? Okay. So the why behind everything. So we get really, really an understanding on the reasoning why we're doing this nutrition program, why we're having this exercise and having this workout, why our goals are the goals that we physically want, our intentions on not just being healthier for ourselves, but being healthier for our friends and family and our kids, because we want to see them grow older. So like having that why and having that intention behind everything kind of leads us to the next step, which is then clarity. So we could actually focus and shine a little light on our goals to the point to where it's just like, what, we have a purpose of acceptance. And then from there, we can kind of get rid of all the fog, all the little, alerts that kind of go off in our head. So that helps us focus a little bit more. And so then when we focus, that focus leads to consistency. And how consistency with effort, everything that we pretty much do kind of unfolds into the process of being able to live a healthier lifestyle. And then we also got to really, really hone in on the fact that this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So patience, 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 patience. Anybody can drop water weight in like a couple of days and lose 5 pounds, but is that consistent? Is that sustainable? Not necessarily. So we're playing the long-term game here. Lifestyle changes that are implemented now are going to last longer later on in life, and we're not paying for it in the hospital bills and the hospital, like any type of medical bills that we might have later on. And so with that, then the last part is celebration, because you know what? Celebrating things is great. Having that gratitude for yourself that you just made an accomplishment, you hit a PR, you've been doing great on your journey, you've lost that 5 pounds within a week, you've been doing great throughout the week. Just having a little celebration for yourself. So even if it was that cookie that you've been eyeing down for a couple of days, celebrate. If it's one of those things where you want to go out with your friends that night, I'm okay with celebrating. It's a part of life, and we need to have those celebrations together, because that kind of makes us human. So those are
Absolutely.
the 6 steps. Yeah.
Beautiful. That you ran them very, very quickly, and obviously there's a lot that we could dive into each one of those steps.
Oh, absolutely.
Ipek is saying hi to us there. So
Hey.
let's go a little bit deeper on the very first one, because I wanna
Yeah.
I wanna look at the very first one. You said intention. Like if
Hmm.
somebody wants to start their health journey, or even you have started already their health journey, and you outlined those 6 steps, and as you put them out that way, it really makes sense of how you go from first to the second to the third and how you just kind of walk the journey. But to get things started, when you say intention, what do you
Yeah.
mean with that when it comes to like what is the intention of my health? You talk about the why. Um,
Yeah.
so you want to dive a little bit deeper into that? Like how does people want to start finding and discovering the healthy why, if you will?
Yeah, so there's always like a pre-completion phase. So something where it's just like, you know what, I really want to, I'm thinking about wanting to change my lifestyle. You know, I'm overweight. I'm not really physically healthy. I'm not feeling fit in myself. I don't feel great in my own body. And so with that kind of develops those attitudes of like self negativity, self talk. And we really want to aim for those more positive self talks. And so when we talk about our intentions, that why behind it, it all comes behind those behavioral intent, subjective norms, our attitudes, the social norms, the perceived power that we might have in changing, and the why behind why we're wanting to change. So is this for me so I could look in the mirror and actually accept myself for who I am? Is this for my kids because I want to be able to live a long lifestyle so I'm able to, you know, play with them on the weekends or actually pick them up? Or if we go to an amusement park somewhere, I can actually, you know, walk with them and actually be on the ride with them and not be on the sideline. I can lift them up when they're playing a football game and they score the winning touchdown, things like that. And so trying to dig deep and have those positive attitudes on the intent on why we're doing this is something that I kind of really like to preach. And that also kind of entails on the exercises. And so why we're doing these exercises. So if it's one of those things where somebody has an imbalance or someone has like, they want to gain more balance in a certain exercise, they want to get different strengths, they want to hit, you know, deeper in their squats. Those intentions on why we're doing certain exercises is really, really big to help them develop those basic fundamentals and the basic progress so they could see that progress.
Right. And then, yeah, absolutely. Because then that why also translates into the fuel as well. Like
Yeah,
that starts to become the motivation for the
absolutely.
why you get up in the morning and why you do the things the way you do. All right, awesome. So then, like what I'm hearing, these 6 steps, they're more of an internal game. Like internal game
Yeah.
needs to be solid straight off the bat. And then you have like you have 4 pillars as well that are, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are then more of the external game.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have pretty much like how you were explaining it, the internal with the 6 steps and then the external with the 4 pillars, and they're interwoven together. And so that leads us into the whole 6 steps of simplified health. The simplified health method is everything put together so that they could live a healthier, longer longevity lifestyle. And so with the 4 pillars, you'll have a workout program, nutrition, accountability, and I added a mindset portion. And that mindset portion really, really helps out the 6 steps a lot, because when we're playing the external game, we need to make sure our internal game is like on point, on check, so that we can able to develop those habits later on.
Love it, love it, love
Yeah.
it. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that mindset. Obviously,
Cool.
we know a lot of like there's a lot we can talk about nutrition, obviously, and the mind. Sorry, the exercise until the cows come
Mhm.
home. But mindset. I mean, there's a lot of talk about that everywhere when it comes to health, and I think that ties very well with the intention and the clarity part.
Mhm.
How do you help people changing their mindset when it comes to
So
health, or
yeah,
either
so
reinforcing the mindset even stronger?
Yeah. So when it comes to the mindset portions, currently what I have is worksheets that we could do with the one-on-one accountability. And we kind of look towards, let alone the future, but we also look towards our past too. So what have we done in the past? What are the things that we've actually done that were correct? What are the things that, you know, were mistakes that we could learn from it? And what are the things that we can really focus on to help shift gears internally and on our attitudes to help reach us for our goals? And so when we talk about that focus and we talk about those clarity things, a lot of times when I have people first start out, their mind is a little bit foggy. And so what we kind of want to do is kind of pretty much take that fog and kind of like scrape it away, blow the wind away, so that it's actually a clear set focus point that we could actually hone on into. And so some people might be unsure, some people might be a little overwhelmed, they might lose interest and not knowing what their full potential is. And what we kind of do is focus really hard on what our full potential can be. And so here's their goal, here's where they are. The in between portion is where we want to focus on, but understanding where we came from to help fuel the rest of it to reach that goal. And so when we talk about goals, you could talk about SMART goals. And that's one of the things that we kind of, really focus on is, we have a time limit, we have a time frame. Is it attainable? Is it something that we can actually achieve in a certain amount of time? And so we kind of really deep dive into that, as well as, reassuring the client, you're perfect. We're going to be doing this together. And, having that positive self-talk over and over and over and over again really helps with the mindset, which then shifts our consistency, which shifts the effort that we actually are able to put on it.
Let's talk about those goals, because goal setting for me is something that I've practiced a lot and I've taught a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little bit of sometimes a little pitfall that we get too attached to the goal itself and we forgot
Yeah.
the journey.
Okay.
How do you play with that instead of only focusing on the goal or the shiny object or losing weight? Like, let's say I want to lose 20 kilos or 50, whatever that number is, or I want to gain weight, like in my case, for example. Instead of that's great, you want to have that goal, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel that we need to have the goal and the journey in mind. How do you play around with that in goal setting?
Yeah, because it's one of those things where when we talk about goals and goal setting, you know, losing that 5 and 10 pounds is something that can be attainable. But then we go back into that intention portion of it and we get back to the why. And so then we kind of make it, instead of that 5, 10 pounds that we want to lose, we change it a little bit more to the why portion of the goal. So it's just like, I want to be able to lose XYZ because of, I want to be able to, work with my kids for the rest of my life. I want to be able to be there and be a strong personal, figure for them. And so when it comes to the goal setting portion of it, I always kind of talk about, and I'm pretty sure you do the same thing too, where you could have a goal, but if you don't put in the effort to it, it's just kind of words that are written on a piece of paper. And so it's really one of those things where some days you might lack motivation, some days, you might not be fully into it, but just putting in the effort each day, little by little, is really going to be able to help us attain whatever goal that might be. And so when we actually focus on doing like the worksheets and everything, we really focus on the basics of why we're writing down that goal. And we literally hone in why, to get to the underlining feeling of what our perceived beliefs are, what our attitudes are. And it's more than just losing that 10, 15 pounds. It's a holistic life change. So
Yeah, I love that. Like, that's where it's at. Like, I think is what I like to say is like it's good to have those goals that might be the initial motivation, that might be the initial push to get you going, get you started. But once you
mm-hmm.
start the journey and you start understanding, like, hey, this is actually a lifestyle shift. This is a
Yeah.
bigger change that needs to happen in order to make this, attainable for the long term. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the times, like, you start your journey from here, let's say, and then you get to your destination, to your minus 10 kg or minus 20 pounds, whatever that is, or a new better self, and then you're like, wow, okay, there's so much more that I
Yeah.
actually want to reach out. Like, then the goal itself, it becomes just a milestone, kind of a little stepping stone instead of a destination, right?
Exactly. Because once you finish that goal, it's just like, some people just normally it's like, okay, what's next? Like, what am I supposed to do like after that? But literally, it's just a building block for the foundation that, we just established. So it's literally something that's in your toolkit now that should be like, all right, now I have that perceived behavioral control, that intention behind that behavior. Now the next step is, implementing whatever that XYZ might be later on, because there's always something higher on the underneath intention of that goal. And so that's why I always kind of preach on, what's the next things, what's the next like why behind it.
Yeah, beautiful. Ipek is saying attaching a why to the goal makes it more attractive and exciting. I think that's absolutely true. And one of the other things that I wanted to mention there is that when it comes to goal setting, because I sometimes get a little pushback from goal setting, from myself or from others as well. And then like if you look at neurologically, like how our brain is a goal seeking machine. Like we need to have something in the future, something that we are reaching out to, because that's just how our brain part operates. But then
Hmm.
if you look at your body and you look at, let's say, your soul, or the motivational part, then your body needs to have a feeling, and that's where the why comes into play. So I think, like you said, attaching that why, attaching that feeling into that goal, into that sort of whatever future self you want to be, I think that's where we start, reaching our full potential. Like I think you mentioned, and starting to have really true motivation that doesn't need to be harnessed from external sources every single day. It comes from within, right? Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's beautiful. Awesome. So, what are your some of, like, if you like start like funneling down from there, like making it more simplified, actionable, um, like let's say nutrition and exercise. What would be some of your absolute fundamentals that people quote unquote must do every day? That it becomes a habit as brushing your teeth in the morning.
I think it literally can start with just that, like having a routine, developing a routine in the morning. And I know a lot of us talk about having a morning routine and having a nightly ritual too, but I think that's a very big aspect in it. So like for me, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I get my cup of water in. I do my little gratitude exercises, and then what I pretty much do is get my cup of coffee to kind of wake my mental state up, and then I go straight to the gym to get that exercise in. And so I might be in there for, let's just say, 45 minutes to an hour, just because I do strength training and resistance training. But somebody else could do anything they want, just getting that exercise in. And you've also accomplished something before 7 a.m. or before someone else wakes up when they start their day. So it's already generating that productivity levels to help you boost, yourself and those, self beliefs throughout the whole day. And so with that, the nightly ritual, anything that has to do with that, I definitely think sleep is very, very important. Um, and so just being able to put your phone down, put it on night mode like an hour before bed, and just reading something like that, winding down anything that has to deal with before you're getting into bed, cutting off all electricity off, doing whatever you got to do. Those are kind of things that I really implement in my daily regimen. Um, so
So
when it comes, yeah,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going to finish off with having some type of routine, and we could cut that down as simple as possible. So it might not just be, internally getting up, going to the gym. It might just be setting your alarm for 4:30, starting with that, and then the next day placing your shoes in front of your bed, or having your notebook next to your bed, having your pen and pencil next to your bed so you could do your gratitude exercises. And then the next day could be like writing one gratitude exercise or one thing you're grateful for. The next day, two things you're grateful for, and start building those little tiny habits over and over and over again that can help you in the long term and helps build those like sustainable goals. Not sustainable goals, sustainable habits.
Yeah, exactly. That's the compounding effect right there. The compounding is the word in business as well that comes out a lot. So let me put you on the spot here real quick. We started this call at 9 o'clock. What did you do this morning? How was your morning? What did your morning look like this morning?
The exact same thing that I pretty much spoke of. So woke up this morning and went to the gym at 4:30, 5 o'clock after I got my water and after I did my gratitude exercises. Got done, had some breakfast, took a shower, and then now I know you see me sitting in an office right now. I'm just kind of sitting at work right now until I go to the next thing. And so that's pretty much my morning. So I try to practice what I preach as much as possible, but I also try to listen to my body. So if it's one of those things where my body's just telling me, you know what, I think you need a rest day, I think you need to, sleep in a little bit more, have a little bit more water, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And then I'll see if my body kind of really wants to work out in the afternoon. If not, then I'm just going to say yes to it. And, it knows a little bit more than me. And so that's pretty much what I do every single day.
Yeah, nice one, nice one. I love it. So for me, when it comes to health, there's three, all these foundational pillars, if you will. For me, there, like you mentioned about sleep, that's huge, and then nutrition,
Hmm.
hydration, and exercise. But I like to call it more movement instead of exercise. For me, the exercise, sometimes I get a little bit pushback from some of my people that I my ecosystem, they're like, oh, I don't like exercise. And I was like, especially with my partner, for example. So what about movement? For me, the movement has a little bit of a lesser attachment to it. That
Yeah.
is like easier step to get onto. But what I wanted to ask from you is, would you like what would you rate out of those three as in nutrition, exercise or movement, and sleep? Would you put them into any kind of order of priority?
Ooh,
Where would you
okay.
start, like to get something right first before the second one, or?
Okay, so if I had to put together like the top three out of that, because those are literally three of the biggest ones that I can potentially think of, and I think order wise they can go anyway, whatever your goal or whatever your intention would be behind them.
Hmm.
But for me personally, I think I would go sleep as the top one,
Yeah.
because I think sleep is super, super important. It's very underrated, and a lot of people don't actually intentionally understand the reason behind sleep. Um,
Mhm.
and then I would go with nutrition and then exercise slash movement. Um, those would be kind of my three that I would kind of rank. And it's one of those things where day by day, like nutrition and workout can kind of alternate, but those are the three that I think it would kind of fall under.
Yeah.
Sleep is very important.
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, if I don't get my sleep right, like maybe 1 or 2, maximum 2 days, I can go with quote unquote bad sleep. But the third day, I'm out. Like I'm just useless.
Yep.
I
I'm
can
right there with
go with
you.
bad nutrition for a few more days, but and without exercise or movement, I can go maybe like 3, 4, 5 days. But then it's more of the mind game in the beginning. But then obviously towards the end, the body starts, giving me signs. But yeah, sleep is huge. Like if
I
you don't
just
sleep right, I think the other ones are.
I just feel so fatigued and so groggy when I don't get good enough sleep. And it's one of those things where I could have 8 hours of sleep, but the quality of it, if I don't sleep a quality 8 hours or a quality 7 hours, then it was pretty much just like the rest of the day is almost shot. And I know there's things that I have written down that can kind of help me throughout the day. Um, but still, sometimes, like, even though the quantity over exists the quality, it's just, I just feel awful throughout the day if I don't get a good quality of sleep.
Perfect. All right, let's go a little bit further from there, before we start wrapping up. So let's say that we have those three, quote unquote, pretty much in check. There's always something that we can do better, obviously, but let's say that your nutrition is kind of on point. You're kind of happy with your nutrition. You move every day. If it's not super strenuous, but at least you're moving yourself every day. You do your, let's say, 10,000 steps, and you have a little exercise routine going, and your sleep is on point. What's after that? What
What's
would
after that? I think it's one of those things where when we look at how we feel internally, um, that's where the next thing would potentially be. So radiating that positivity, radiating that energy that kind of like outflows for you is something that I would like to do next. And so for me, I'm very big into gratitude exercises. So when it comes to sleep, nutrition, and then workouts, then the next thing I would do is gratitude. Gratitude exercises to be able to, one, put that energy back into the world that we kind of need, but two, it's one of those things that really makes you like self-fulfilling. It's one of those things that I feel great whenever I'm thankful for someone, and it's nice to be able to write a thankful letter or a grateful letter to somebody else. So it'd be like, hey, you know what, I'm going to write this to my parents, I'm going to write this to someone that did something great today. And that really helps me develop, one, a little social connection with the outside world as well as within myself, and it really develops that behavioral intention to keep going for me. And so that would be kind of the next thing that I would pretty much do. So, and that holds me a little bit more accountable, because then I know if people, are thankful for the things that I'm giving them, thankful for, what I've been doing or how they make me feel, that makes me want to work more and more and more to be able to have those feelings and watch them grow at the same time.
Nice one. Nice one. That's amazing. Yeah, gratitude is one of those things. Yeah, it is. I don't think there's ever can be enough gratitude in this world. So, and
Hmm.
what I like to add into that is like what you said, because a lot of the times the gratitude is inwards towards ourselves, but at the
Yeah.
same time, when we express gratitude towards other people or other beings, or our pets, or whatever
Hmm.
circumstances we are, it's also an outward expression, and it comes to a contributing energy, if you will. And I
Yeah.
feel like toward like when it's all said and done, if you will, whatever we contributed, that's where we get the most fulfillment in life. So if
Absolutely.
we can contribute in a state of gratitude, wow, I think that's like when I put my head into the pillow in the end of the day, that's how I measure myself. How much gratitude I have towards the contributions that I made during the day. So
hmm Because you're really focusing, you're not focusing on yourself, it's more on the outside external. You're focusing on them. And so that's why when I talk to my clients, I want to be able to know what something I can do better, better, better every day for them. It's not about me. It's never been about me. Like, even though I do things for myself, like, and, being a little bit selfish sometimes is good. Having that self care for yourself is really, really good. But it's more about you. It's more about them. How can I help benefit you, as well as, I don't expect anything back whatsoever. Um, I just want to be able to give, 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 and be thankful for something that I can give. If someone wants to give back to me, I'm going to be the most happy, thankful person that I can potentially be. And so, even for now, like this whole live stream, I'm super, super grateful for having, having you be on here and having me be on here and having us have this conversation. Um, and so I definitely think it really, really helps on, that attraction of our internal to be able to focus on the external.
awesome. That's great. Fantastic. Hey, where can people find you and what's on your plate right now in the next well, towards the end of the year?
Yeah, so if you guys want to find me, I'm on LinkedIn mostly. You can find me just Anthony Pack, search me up on LinkedIn. If you want to check me out on Facebook, I just started putting myself out on Facebook more, same thing, Anthony Pack. And if you guys want to follow my personal Instagram, it's at A Packman. It's literally APACK man.
Awesome. That out as well.
Yeah, and then the things that I'm doing right now is I've just been programming. You could find me. I'm probably going to be doing some type of 14-day challenge coming after the New Year's. So that's going to be in the works, and I will keep everyone informed on that when that actually comes soon. Okay?
Awesome, awesome. I expect it to do going to be heavily around health and wellness and
Ah,
changing the
oh
world.
yeah, it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a fun time, a hard time, but it's going to be a great time.
Awesome, beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, that's awesome. That's Anthony Pack for you guys. That was super cool conversation today about health and wellness and 6 steps to simplify everything for you. So do reach out to him, and yeah, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.